What's up? David here. And today I want to talk about disassembling your habits. Taking your habits, breaking it apart, and taking a real close look at them. And I love this saying from Naval Ravikant. He says that you have to shed your identity to see reality. And we talked about the ego and how the ego is created, right? And most of the times when we're born into this world, we are born a clean slate. And that is like our pure self, our truest self, right? We don't have any conditionings around us. We don't have this ego shell around us when we were born. But as we get introduced to society, we create like this ego around us, and that becomes our false self. So that is what is meant by identity. We take on this false identity that society has conditioned us to believing that it is us, but it is actually not us. And because when we were born, we start to take on these habits, and these habits become very arbitrary actually. How these habits and how these beliefs come to form are very arbitrary. Because what a strategy that might have worked when we were younger and the habits that we built up around this strategy might not work when we are into our adulthood. For example, let's say that you have a habit of drawing attention when you were younger, because when you drew attention when you were younger, you got the attention of your mom and your parents, and she came in to help you, right? But if you keep on that same habit of trying to draw attention from other people, and you take that into your adulthood, it might not be very resourceful for you. It might not be the best habit to have, right? Because as an adult, if you're trying to draw attention from everybody, we become like this needy person, and then nobody likes a needy person, right? So we want to be able to disassemble our habits. First and foremost, be aware of some of these habits that we have in our lives that are not useful, and to take them apart and to see, hey, what is going on here? Maybe this is a habit that was useful for me when I was younger, but seeing it through the lens of more of reality and more of an objective view, this habit is actually bad, and I need to get rid of this habit. So we talked about being aware, right? That is step number one. Because if you're not aware of these habits, and most of us usually are not, and it's really hard to see these habits by ourselves unless some other figure helps us to see these habits. But step number one is to become aware, right? Awareness is key. And then it's to stop that pattern from occurring again. It's to step back, to observe that pattern. It's to create the space, right? Space between stimulus and response, and to break those patterns so that those patterns don't play out again. So we have to be able to shed our identity, this false identity that we have come to build as we were growing up. And it's also known as the ego. We have to shed this ego, and we have to be able to see the truth, right? Or at least a more objective version of the truth. And you want to see this from a more experienced mind, right? Because this old shell of yours, this is no longer you anymore, right? Because this old shell, a lot of this identity and this belief was formed by a 6-year-old, by a 10-year-old, by a 12-year-old, however these beliefs came to form. So if you are clinging onto your old identity, it's kind of like clinging onto the ideas and beliefs of a 10-year-old. So you have to let go, you have to shed this off, you have to remove this, let go of the ego, and you have to find out a way to instill better habits, better belief systems, and create the ultimate version of yourself, right? And by the way, our identity, or our self, our consciousness, is never fixed. It's never like a done deal. We should always be growing, always be improving ourselves. So in this sense, we are not human beings, we are actually human becomings. And because we are constantly growing and should be improving ourselves, our identity is always changing. Our self is always changing. And hopefully in a way that is positive, in a way that is that causes growth instead of declining. So remember to remove the ego, remove this exterior shell, break apart these bad habits from your past, instill a new program, instill new habits, and keep on continuing to improve yourself. Create that new identity as you progress in life. So that's it for this video. Hope you found value out of this one. I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace out.